In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Let's begin, God willing, a new lecture, and the title of the lecture is How to Spoof Your MAC Address. What will we learn in this lecture? We'll learn how we can change our MAC address, whether that's on a Linux system or on our Windows system. Okay, Mr. Muhammad, what are we going to gain from a topic like this, and what does MAC address even mean in the first place? Let's first understand what a MAC address is, and then we'll see what benefit we get from being able to change ours. First of all, if you type a command on your system, you'll find these are your network settings, right? Or yours. First, this is your device name, right? For the Wi-Fi adapter, okay? Mine is called 33. It might be different for you. It's not fixed, meaning the name can change. Alright? Okay. That's mine. Right? And this is a subnet mask. I'm not going to get into more details than that. Yeah, this is it, guys. This is the IPv6 address. Don't confuse IPv6 with the MAC address. You'll readily find the specific name, which is merely an abbreviation presented here, but its application is essentially and fundamentally limited to this particular context. In any case, you will undoubtedly encounter either this designated name or that alternative name, and you will clearly observe that its appearance is precisely like this. 2 characters, then a colon, then 2 more characters, or sometimes you'll see 4 characters. Alright, so you don't get confused between this and that. Alright, so this one is 9. Okay, so what's the difference between them? First of all, this one is your own address. Of course, inside there's something called a network card like this. The manufacturer gives it something like an ID number, kind of like a national ID. It's something that distinguishes it from other cards. Alright? Alright, do we get it now? So this is basically its national ID number, right? Because this is the function, of the network adapter. Alright? What's its function? It's to be on the network, right? So it has to have an address. Alright? As for... this means it's considered just an address, but it's basically the router that can distribute it to the devices. Alright? Very nice. That makes sense to us, right? Very nice. So what do we gain from something like this? That we can change this. The first thing is that they change it, for example, so they can mix things up or do, like if it's put in, for example, right? They might change it, for example, because they visit suspicious websites, like if something happens to them on those sites. So it'll collect information. Like if someone manages to get your MAC address, because through that, they can figure out what type of device you have, and through your device type, or for example, if they manage to get your... so they'll be able to know the manufacturer of your device, for example. Your device, okay, they'll go to the company and ask about your device. And they could even find out your location, right? So when you're able to change that, they'll end up going in circles. And in the end, they might not be able to find you at all, right? But, I mean, this course is, yeah, for ethical purposes. I'm just showing you this for knowledge. Nothing more. Alright? Now, let's move on to the practical part. So, now we understand how we can, the MAC and the reasons why we might want to use it. Alright. First, we're going to work on the network and try to bypass something like this. But first, we need to change the thing, of course. So that we can change it, we'll write the command, okay? And your interface name, alright? Which is exactly 33. For me, it's called ENS33. If you don't know your interface or the command, you'll find your interface here. This is it. You'll find it with a name like, for example, Eth0, WLAN0. It depends. I don't really know. Alright. Yeah, we'll write or your interface name. For me, it's ANS33, and then we'll tell it to disconnect or stop or disable this interface. Okay? So we can start changing. Very nice. Of course, you can use or it's available in the system, or the system. Or, the one that's like the MAC changer dash. We will take it in a very appropriate way and give it the visual interface that is going to be modified, okay? 3.3, press OK. The first thing it tells you is this is my original one, okay? The original one, right? Alright, And it tells you here that it was able to change to the Mac. Study this. Nice talk. Let's make sure. All right, we have to do it first and then do it. Yeah, that's fine. But right now, the tool itself has a set of options that lets you set it randomly. Okay, but what if I, as a penetration tester, want to set my own MAC address manually, for example? Yeah, you also right. But you'll give it to her and give her any MAC address. For example, 042 dots. Let's press like this several times. 0. 4, for example, 66. Oh, for example, 76. 76, and then 3, 2. Okay. And then BI, and then specifically the number 86. Okay. Of course, a MAC address consists of 6 fields, okay? And then you give it your interface and press enter. You'll find that it's able to change it. Of course, this is what we call the MAC address, which is considered this. Where is it? Here it is. 2EF9. You'll find 2EF9. And I'll change the one that was randomly assigned to me. No. And it's still written for him up here. Here it is. All right? He was able to change it. So now this is mine. All right? I'll activate or turn this on. We'll say, yeah, let's give it the interface. 3.3. We write, okay? And we press enter. You'll find that the network started working here, and it's telling me, it means it was able to work with the network. All right? All right. The one who wrote for me. That I got it, okay? Forget about the IP. We don't need it right now. This is considered the one that was just written above. Here it is. 6.8, you'll find here, 6.8. BIP, 232, 3276, 660404. All right, great. We were able to successfully change it. Now let's move on. Everything is looking really good. What's due? Well, for the brute, we truly won't really need it, quite honestly. Alright, so everything is looking absolutely good indeed. Now we're going to install a simple program on our device. You'll tell it MAC changer for Linux, or MAC address changer for Linux. Right? Yeah, and you'll click on the first result. It'll show up for you. You'll find that you can download this program. This is basically a program that can change your MAC address. Just study it. But on Windows, you'll download the MAC address, just hit download. Okay? Is that right? It'll download as a file or a compressed file like this. You'll extract it, then you simply just double click it and then run it normally. However, since I've already successfully completed this process, I certainly won't need to do it again. All right? Of course, as soon as the program opens, it'll look like this, okay? The first thing, there's an option called, you have the MAC address and the speed, all good stuff. The first option is for Wi-Fi, all right. So now we're changing the interface of, or the main interface of my device, or the primary interface. Okay? Of course, this is for my main one, right? We're good. Now, how can you change it? Okay? All right. But first, we want to do it through the router's admin panel, okay? So we can set the MAC address or assign it to my PC. All right, first, the MAC address of my PC, and how can we bypass something like this? Yeah, the first thing we'll do is enter the router's address, which is .1, man, and we'll just do it normally, okay? And if you check the Wi-Fi, you'll find there are 2 devices currently connected. One is mine, and the other is my Android mobile. All right? Next, what will happen is the following. We'll add to the playlist. Okay? Which is my Windows. I'm going to do that, right? That's precisely what actually happened. I genuinely did it, but if we carefully look over here, you will clearly see that I'm not able to get on the internet. Let's also make sure if we go to the port, if we go to, so we can access, no, there's nothing. The internet connection is perfectly stable and functioning as expected, so now allow me to elaborate on the sequence of events that transpired. So what exactly was my course of action in this particular situation? I meticulously developed and implemented the user interface specifically designed for, or the one for, the particular instance residing within the confines of my personal laptop computer, right? Okay. So, to fix something like this, I'm going to change my interface settings. Alright, that's what I did. So, we'll change it, we'll set it, or this will randomly assign you one from the ones it has. And we'll tell it. Alright? It'll show you the MAC address. Great, just wait for a few more seconds and you will clearly see that the device has successfully connected to the network, and it was indeed able to accomplish this task without any issues. If we go to, you'll see the connection is back, no problems at all. So when would you use this? For example, after you've hacked a Wi-Fi network, or generally speaking, when do people use this method? Yeah, for example, when they're able to access, right? So the owner of the network, for example, blocks them or blocks their MAC address. So they change the MAC address the way you see here to bypass something like that restriction. All right? All right. Let's take it up a level. A little bit. How do we step it up just a bit? Okay. We're going to do this, cover the button, and it'll bring back your original one. All right? If we bring it back automatically, you'll notice there's a separator here. Or there's a separator here. Okay? All right. We want to raise the level a bit more. All right? And we're going to make it a bit harder for ourselves. Yeah, the first thing we're going to do is between my Android. Just 1 second. Anyway, this is my Android, guys. Okay? Do it for him. I also highly recommend that when you go into a specific new setting, you absolutely try or carefully take the precise settings from any device you currently have with you at that very same time. Why is this so important? Just a second. It's telling me someone has set up a page, but no one has. I don't know why. It just won't let me in at all. After some struggle, I managed to access my router's page. Alright, so now I'm the attacker. Yeah, now imagine that I'm the advactor. I was able to, access a certain network, alright? So I start thinking this way in general, or okay. He checks, for example, just as an example, on your device, the one I'm taking its info from, which is my device. I take it like this because I might need it. And I'll show you now how I can use this so that I can access the network. Alright, let's open this text file and do it like this. Okay. Very nice. And here's my Android phone. Alright, now I'm also Mohammed. I discovered that there's a strange device with me, okay? And every now and then it manages to connect, even if I change the password multiple times. Okay? And I added it to the block list. It was able, just like we learned a while ago, okay. So, as I said, we'll just raise the bar a bit, okay? So what are we going to do? We're going to do something called, we'll specify a certain number of devices that can be on the network. I'll specify this Android device, okay? Now we'll go in and set it so that only the Android can connect. No other device can. Or, access the network, okay? Even if someone else has it, okay? Alright? We'll log in with the Android. We will proceed to access the router's specific IP address, just like this. Subsequently, we will then input the required username and the corresponding password into the designated fields. Then we do, "You're a liar, Abu Saleh." Huh, what do you mean? I might have already set it up here. Of course it won't let me in. So in order to successfully complete this operation, we will proceed to close the current tab completely, as sometimes the application tends to freeze or become unresponsive for a short period, which can hinder progress. Following that, we will then carefully and accurately enter the required password into the designated field to gain access. We'll log in. You'll find that you were able to log in. All right. Now, we want to set up the whitelist. It'll go to, and then you'll go to security. Then the Wi-Fi MAC address, which is a unique identifier for your device, right? All right. Instead of simply letting it go completely, we will say OK, and then click the OK button. And from this point here, we will carefully select mine, and I will then tell it when I originally told it to do something specific. So it will disconnect the internet from Windows, and at the same time, it will disconnect the internet from the device I'm using, which is So You'll Find. All right? Got it. All right? You will clearly see it now on my screen, just exactly like I previously mentioned. Here it is, right before your eyes. The network disconnected, and you'll also notice this, and this is considered a cache. Now, on the mobile device, I absolutely have to tap the connect button, otherwise the essential sharing functionality simply won't work at all. Consequently, I now find myself unable to connect to the internet. To address this, I can effectively block the specific MAC address using the reliable, old-fashioned method. We are now going to proceed with making a completely random, yet significant, change to the settings. Of course, the program is share. All right, change the MAC address. We'll click OK. We'll also go to network. We will likely discover that despite our efforts, it is still not functioning correctly or providing the desired outcome for us. At this point, we will proceed to completely close down the program, ensuring all processes are terminated. All right? This step is crucial for troubleshooting. If you go into network, for some reason there's a value here that just won't work for me. You'll go up to the top. So I went in from here, and after we changed it, of course, the MAC address. It'll do it, and of course it'll tell me, no, you won't be able to, or what's the credibility. All right? All right, that's really great. Someone might genuinely ask me, why, Engineer Mohammed, couldn't we possibly do it? Or perhaps after we have completely changed it. I'll tell you, because there's something quite important called, it specifies that only one device can be written, but there's no device in the world that can do this unless you follow exactly what I'm about to tell you now. All right? All right. Of course. We'll need the thing here. We'll take it like this. We'll put it in the computer here. And we'll do it like this. And we'll write the Android part here like this. Manually. Of course, we'll enter E6. First, we have DC followed by a sequence of 7 E's, and then subsequently 4 more E's. Then D3. Then we will proceed to the three-dimensional aspect, and following that, should we proceed with the exchange operation at this very moment, or perhaps consider an alternative approach? What are your thoughts on this matter? At this point in time, the entire process has been successfully completed and finalized. So what did we just do? We changed it so that my Windows one is now the same as the Android one. All right? If you look at it like this, I was able to connect right away, or whatever, all right? All right, so you might say to me, boss, engineer, but how did that happen? But how did that happen? Let me tell you. First of all, when, for example, my interface or my network card tries to connect to a certain network, the router asks, hey, where are you going? What's your name, for example, or what's your address? So it tells him, this is my MAC address. The router checks and says, okay, this device. It either allows you through or lets you pass, just like when you're passing through a checkpoint, right? So if you're not wanted, or if you're, say, a public figure, as soon as they see you, they tell you to go ahead. But if you're a criminal, get out. It's the same idea here. Or, right? Let's do that too. Let's log out here, right? Let's log out here, then log in again. 192. You'll notice a slight lag in the network because there are two devices with the same MAC address. Check what's on the network. You'll find there's a lot of traffic on the network because the router gets confused between the two devices, and it might disconnect the internet from one device. Like it might cut off Android and work on Windows, then after a while cut off Windows and work on Android. Alright, yeah, if you go into the MAC settings, check a filter. Okay? Or if you go in, okay? If you carefully check the device, you will certainly find that they have precisely the same characteristics, those particular ones that are currently and actively present, right, at this very moment. Of course, for the MAC address, the one I just wrote, okay? And you'll find it here. And now, the internet isn't working on, right? As I said, the internet isn't working on the Android. Literally, it's not working and I can't do anything. We need to run a test because there has to be internet on the Android, but I think the idea is clear now. So now you've kicked the network owner out. Basically, he's made it so, or you've kicked the owner out, even though the phone is still connected to the network. For me, it's all good. Try it out and you'll see that it works just fine for you. It was a really nice lecture. We successfully managed to completely bypass the significant issue in more than just one effective way. That is precisely how it was, indeed. Fine. God willing, I'll see you, yeah, in upcoming lectures. Of course, if you want to go back to your original setup, just do it. And if we do that, you'll find that you have some disconnections. See you in the next lecture. Peace, mercy, and blessings of God be upon you.